Hello and welcome back to Lorcan Villain. My name is Baker and today we're going to be taking a look at some more Rise of the Floodborn reveals, spoilers. We have 20 more cards to look through between my last update reviewing the new cards and today we've had 20 new cards. A lot of them are really, really good. And we are going to start off straight away with the most recent one, and I was coming close to thinking, I should do another review for the most recent set. But as soon as I saw this card, I was like, that's it. It's meant to be. It is time. From the brain that brought you the big bed caper, the head that made headlines in every newspaper, and wondrous things like the Tower Bridge job, that cunning display that made Londoners sob. Now comes the real tour de force, tricky and wicked of course. My earlier crimes were fine for their times, but now that I'm at it again, and even grimmer plot has been simmering in my great criminal brain. That wasn't planned, but we went with it. Why not? Why shouldn't I post cringe? But yes, we got the world's greatest criminal mind. Absolutely love it. The Song of Ratigan from the Great Mouse Detective. And this is the first art where we actually see all of him. Obviously, he's been featured in Dinner Bell and another card that's released in this set that we got, that we'll come to later, but was revealed before this. But it's the first time we're seeing our man, and it's good to see him. And the card is fantastic. Amber, 3-cost, inkable, action song. As always, a character with 3 or more can sing the song for free. Banish chosen character with 5 strength or more. So Amber gets some much needed removal. There's not tons of stuff in meta from chapter 1 which naturally has 5 strength or more that you see often. Obviously there's your prime targets like Maleficents and Maui's and a couple more, but generally there's not loads. But it's been pointed out, like, by the time you've seen this video, you've probably seen people discussing it online or considered it yourself. Obviously the support keyword is a great way of basically making this go off. 3 cost, like, this could be uninkable, and I still think it would probably see play. But the fact that it's inkable, this is a fantastic card, and I'm so glad that this one of my favourite songs from my favourite villain from my favourite Disney film is actually good and not just a throwaway. Shout out to Forbidden Mountain for a fantastic reveal of this card. But yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, like, that's it really. Like, you know, it's really, really good, and I'm really, really glad. So fantastic to see. We'll go back to the beginning now, but nearly the beginning. Let's do the Basil stuff together. Why not? Let's celebrate it. We finally see Basil of Baker Street, and we've got 3 of them, and they tie into the lore of the of Lorcana, which I'm very fascinated by, and I'm currently writing a script where we're going to talk about the whole timeline and theorize it. But yes, we've got Basil of Baker Street, Sapphire, 2-cost inkable with a 2/2 stat line and the support keyword. Whenever this character quests, you may add their strength to another character's strength this turn. 1 lore pip. What an ingenious device. If its light is refracted through these, then its images must resolve somewhere below. Absolutely fantastic. Love to see Basil. And wait, there's more. We've got another Sapphire, 4-cost inkable. This one's a Storyborn. Basil, Perceptive Instigator, 3/4 with 2 lore pips. There's no question. Something is afoot in the Greater Luminary. Love it. Fantastic art. Lots to talk about concerning the lore, but yeah, in terms of just a card, it's okay. Like, you know, really to work out how, like, to judge the Basils, we must, before we judge them too much, talk about the final one, which is the Sapphire, 6-cost inkable, Basil, Great Mouse Detective, 3/4 stat line, shift 5 onto one of your other 2 Basils, 2 that we've got so far, 3 lore pips, which is tasty, and there's always a chance. If you used shift to play this character, you may draw 2 cards, so Sapphire gets some much needed cards. We're really glad to see other colours getting, like, removal and card draw and all those things. I never liked the idea, like, again, set 1 and everyone was kind of like, okay, so purple's card draw and blue's ramp and red's removal and that, like, etc, and I was like, I do hope that all colours see a bit of everything though, just like, otherwise I feel like it's going to become way too weighted in one direction. But yeah, like, I think this alone is probably worth it in like, again, it won't be all Sapphire decks, but definitely ones that aren't playing with another colour that has good card draw. And just the 3 lore pips is nice. And again, if you are shifting onto this turn 5, then you shift, draw 2, quest for 3. And a 3/4 stat line is okay. It's not amazing for turn 5. He is removed quite easily, but sometimes just drawing the cards and getting the quest off is more than enough. So great to see these Basils. Fantastic art. Yeah, really, really love them. Let's go back then to the first reveal that came after I did my last video. We ended my last video on the Mulan from Amber reveal. Amber's getting strong. But when I become an Amber main next season, though, it's because the Ratigan card is in Amber. That's the only reason. Unless the character Ratigan we get is another colour, then I might be able to stick with my Ruby Amethyst. But yeah, we've got Pinocchio Star Attraction. Storyborn hero, 2 cost, uninkable, with a 1/1 stat line and 3 lore pips. So obviously this is just, 1 level up from Maleficent, essentially. So yeah, it provides a different way of doing your curve to basically get the same thing but for more lore. I don't think we've got any 1-cost bodyguarders at the moment. If and when we do get a 1-cost bodyguard that is like inkable and like can see play, then there's nothing to say that you wouldn't open with that and then play this turn 2. Yes, it's slower, but maybe it's enough. I'm not sure. I'm not amazed by this, but I can see it seeing play, so it's good, and it's good to see another Pinocchio card. Next up, we've got Confusing Signs. Always good to see Alice in Wonderland cards. If you're new to the channel, my entire tattoo sleeve is Alice in Wonderland, so I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, we've got Confusing Signs, an Amethyst card, 2 cost, uninkable, and the ability is banish this. I don't know what it's called. I can't see the translation for that on where I'm looking now, but the ability is banish this item, choose one of your characters and return it to your hand. So obviously straight away synergy with all of our Merlin and Madame Mim cards, but again, like the same synergy that I've pointed out when talking about them before isn't always with each other. That's great, but just the ability to bring back into your hand your come into play effect cards, or just things that you want to quest and then keep safe. So yeah, I think this could see play. Is it good enough at being uninkable and being one of your uninkable slots? Not sure. Maybe a 1 or 2 count. It definitely will see testing, and it's definitely something that I want to test. But yeah, interesting, and I really like the art, simple as it is, and yeah, not something that I'm going to write off, because yeah, there are already uses there that I can see. Next up, we've got Prince Naveen. 3 cost, inkable, with a 4/3 stat line and 1 lore pip, so really vanilla. Is this our strongest steel stat line? 4/3? Yeah, so 3 cost in steel. The closest to it is we have the Lilo Galactic Hero, who is 4/2, but has 2 lore pips instead. And then obviously there's Kristoff at 3/3 with 2 lore pips. So I'm not sure. Well, yeah, again, it's going to come down to if 4 ends up being an important enough number to hit with this by like early game, then yeah, it will absolutely see play. So one to keep an eye on for sure. Next up, another vanilla card for steel. We've got Eli LOF, Big Daddy. 4 cost, inkable, with a 2/5 stat line and 2 lore pips. Nothing mad. Maybe in worlds where, I mean, yeah, like the 5, there have been cards that came out in Chapter 1 that were, like, and I think other people would writ off quite early, just, like, because it just didn't seem good enough, even though it was bulky. And then going into, in, like, Chapter 1 format, like, having just a large willpower, like, that does mean a lot. And it is 2 lore pips, so maybe it will see play. Yeah, like, definitely one to watch. Again, most of these cards are things that, like, I could see at least being tested. Next up, another that I'm very, very pleased to see, another Alice in Wonderland card. We've got Queen of Hearts, Moody Monarch. Inkable, 7 cost inkable, 5/6 stat line, which is nice, big and bulky, what I expect for a 7 cost though. Only 1 lore pip, but the ability off with their head. Every time an opposing character is banished, you can ready this character. I am assuming that includes when she banishes something by challenging. I'm assuming that to be the case. So that alone makes this pretty good. It's bulky enough that it's probably getting 2, maybe even 3 things off the board, depending on what you're up against. And there's even just the world of being able to get off a big quest turn with her, like if you quest with her, and then if you're able to fire the cannons to banish something, ready up, quest again. Now we smash something, okay, ready up, quest again. Now we do a Tink play, and we challenge with Tink and take out something else. And you could definitely get a few lore out of this in one turn. So, and the fact that she's inkable as well, and yeah, that's a nice stat line. So yeah, love the Queen of Hearts, this steel version. Really glad to see her in the game. Next up, a Basil card that I missed. We've got Ring the Bell. It's an emerald card, 3 cost inkable. Banish chosen damaged character. So again, this is fantastic for Emerald to just get some removal, and getting damage on I don't think it's going to be as hard to get damage on things as some people may worry. So yeah, I absolutely, and the fact that it's actually banishing them, then yeah, I absolutely see this seeing play. And again, Emerald is another colour that needs some more proactive removal, and so, again, some great art. So yeah, love to see it. Oh, so many Basil cards, I'm so happy. But another one that I missed at the beginning when I was going to say let's do all the Basil stuff together. We've got Mrs. Judson. So good to see you, Mrs. Judson. Slay girl. Housekeeper. And the ability Clean Up. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. So she is Mickey on some baked goods, some cheese crumpets. That's what she's known for. Her famous cheese crumpet. She's Mickey on cheese crumpets. That's my girl. I'm so proud of you, Mrs. Johnson. It's so good to see you in the game. I'm so proud of you. Yo, if you're proud of Mrs. Johnson, comment right now. Proud. Hashtag proud. But yes, the ability Clean Up, not bad. Uninkable, which is a shame, but 1/5 stat line. Obviously, the 1 means nothing to us, but she's bulky enough, I would say, for a 4 cost, and the 2 lore pips is pretty nice as well. And yeah, again, we have had quite a few low cost Floodborns revealed already for second set, so maybe I'm sure others will have given this more thought than me. It's definitely something that I'm going to experiment with in more detail when the set comes out. But again, these are all just my initial impressions of all these cards. Some of them, I've got a bit more to say about where I think it may go, and some of them not so much. I'm not sure whether she'll see play. She'll definitely be tested. I believe in you though, Mrs. Johnson. Yeah, love this card. Next up, we got another Emerald card, Pack Tactics. Great to see another Emperor's New Groove card. 4 cost inkable. Gain 1 lore for each damaged character opponents have in play. This is really interesting because it does open up, because again, green is Emerald is a race deck anyway. It tends to get to quite a high lore. And it's say you're against, if you're against anything that just takes a little longer to set up, Ruby Amethyst, or even something with Amber, Steel Amber, or something that just took a little longer to get going. They're going to get to a point where they do start to extend their board state, especially if they're out card resourcing you. Although then that might be a thing of the past, because Green's got so much, Emerald's got so much discard synergy coming into its ranks. But nonetheless, generally speaking, Emerald doesn't want to play a long game. So yeah, this creates a situation where if Emerald gets to 13, 14, 15 lore, and they're potentially running 4 of these, just you having out too many characters can potentially give them game. Basically, this is going to be a card that, if it ends up seeing play, it will make players think twice about overextending against Emerald. I don't know to what extent, and that's one of my favourite things about Be Prepared, and why I think it's such a healthy card for the game, because it should be encouraged to not always just play everything that you have straight away. There should be reasons to want to hold things back. I think that creates a higher skill tier. And again, it's the problem. If I see that you're not running red, then I know I can extend. I know I can go as mad as I want. But this creates a situation where if you're against green and they're at, say, 14, 15, 16 lore-ish, and you start overextending, you got to think about it again, because if they top this, then they're just going to win off of it, even if you've got really strong control. So I'm not sure if it will end up seeing play, but I think there's a strong chance for it, and I think it's really healthy for Emerald to have, because again, for all the reasons I've just explained, it creates situations where you need to think twice about overextending against Emerald. So yeah, really like that card. Next up, we've got Gombo Pot, which, disclaimer straight away, when this came out, I made an announcement saying, oh, it's good to see some more Treasure Planet cards, and it's definitely not. It's Princess and the Frog. My mistake. At first glance, it looked like the pot. And in my defense, when I was, if you're new to the channel, I was an actor, like, for most of my life. And when I was studying at university, one of the shows we did a musical called Silver, which was a sequel to Treasure Island. It's based 10 years on. In that show, obviously Long John Silver, even in the original Treasure Island, he's a cook. And yeah, there was a song in that show called Gumbo Philly Gumbo. And it was a song all about Silver cooking. So I saw this part and I saw Gumbo and I was like, alright, Long John Silver, Treasure Island. So that's how I got there, but I was mistaken. But nonetheless, the ability is Exert, remove 1 damage each from up to 2 chosen characters. So a couple of things that come to mind immediately is we've got the Rapunzel that's coming in this next set, which reads whenever you remove damage from a character, you draw a card. So there's some synergy there. There's also the other Sapphire Grand Pabi, which obviously he goes absolutely nuts whenever damage is removed. So there's combinations there, and again, it's an item and an inkable one at low cost. So Gombo Pot, yeah, I can absolutely see it. There are decks where it will find a home for sure. Next up, how does Lorcana expect me to have a favourite art when they just keep releasing all these bangers? We've got Gruesome and Grim. I'm going to say it right now. I want this to be my first enchanted song. Even over World's Greatest Criminal Mind, which I think we've established I'm a big fan of. But look at this. I want an enchanted songs. And like, this is it'll be a whole new world, won't it? But yeah, like, this deserves it. Action song, 3 cost, uninkable. Obviously, as always, songs 3 or more can sing for with 3 or more costs can sing for free. Play a character with cost 4 or less for free. They gain rush. At the end of the turn, banish them. So this is a really interesting card. So when this came out, I gave a little breakdown on as a community post, basically saying that the most obvious synergy that we see here is, like, obviously with the Merlin and Madam Mim stuff, the bounce related cards. And the best combination really that comes to mind is you play this turn 3 to play your uninkable Rabbit Merlin, the one that allows you to draw a card when he enters and exits the field. So you use this, play this down, play your Merlin Rabbit down, so you've -2'd in your hand. But Rabbit goes down, you draw a card, so you're now only -1. And then in a perfect world, you are able to use that rabbit to rush into something that your opponent has exerted. In a perfect world, a Simba, a Lilo, something along these lines. Something where you're going to get, because it's being banished anyway due to this effect. And yes, it's going to draw you another card when it leaves the field. But if we can get full value, that's best case scenario. If we can't get full value by challenging into something, then he just gets removed at the end of the turn, you draw another card off of it. So all you've really done is cycle through 2 cards in your deck, and you've not really done anything with your turn 3. Maybe that's enough. I'm just pointing out that, like, you know, that's the interaction there. But if you can get a challenge off and banish something on their field, then you are going +1 technically, and then there's a lot more value in it. Like, I've seen people say it is like you can drop Rafiki now. I don't necessarily think that's the case, because sometimes you don't want to, like, Rafiki is just a one per. Sometimes it's just get rid of this Ariel, get rid of this Simba, whatever it might be. And sometimes you don't want to have to spend 2 cards to do that. Like, again, if you're doing what I just said and getting the rabbit down, then you're retaining cards. But if it's just you need to remove something, oh, okay, I've got Gruesome and Grim, and I'm gonna use the Jafar, the Wicked Sorcerer Jafar. You don't always want to make, like, -1 just to get rid of something. Sometimes it's nicer just to have the 1 card Rafiki that will just deal with that problem and then remain on the field as well. So I don't think it's a replacement for Rafiki, but I still think it's a very good card. And again, later on in the game, it's just going to have, like, really, like, great versatility. I pointed out the Jafar, Wicked Sorcerer. If on turn 3 we ever really need to hit 5 or 6, then this is great, because the Wicked Sorcerer Jafar and the Gloves off Elsa that's coming in the new set who can hit 6. So, yeah, something to be said for that. And again, this is a card that just as the game goes on and we get more 4 or less cards, 4 cost or less, there's going to be more things that we get that have come into play abilities that are going to make this off the wall crazy. So how good this is going to be straight away, I believe I need to see a bit more. How good is it going to end up being in the longevity of the game? Sky's the limit. Like A-star card, S-tier card in long run. And maybe S-tier card right from the get-go. It needs testing, and we've still got like nearly half the set to be revealed and, you know, see what else we get. But love Gruesome and Grim. Absolutely love it. Next up, we've got Belle, Bookworm. Storyborn Hero Princess, 3 cost, uninkable, 2/4 stat line, and use your imagination. While an opponent has no cards in their hand, this character gets +2 lore. So this is another one that I put a community post out about, and this actually got like the most discussion and debate. My thoughts initially, and again, all of these initial first impression reviews I'm doing, I accept right from the beginning that some things, my opinion, might just change. Some things I might just plain have been wrong. That's happened before. With first set, there were a handful of things that I didn't think would see play at all and ended up being very good. And there were a couple of things that I thought would be better than they were. So, yes. Obviously, it's great that this is a shift target for the Floodborn Archer Belle, who is good, although I'm still not a believer in her. I'm not sure you're always getting the value, and I'm not sure if you want to prioritize your uninkable slots in Emerald that way. I could be proved wrong, but again, it's good to have the shift target. And the ability is good. Having 3 lore and a 3 cost is pretty good, but we're getting to a point now where like 4 costs and 5 costs can have 3 lore, or at least shifting onto them. I don't know if this is good enough, and even though Emerald is getting a ton of hand discard, I still think it's not going to end up being as good as it's being hyped, and the reason why is a whole new world. It's already so popular, and they spend so many resources to, well, not necessarily because some of the resources replenish themselves, like Hypnotize, but they spend so many card slots just like where the best thing about that card is hand disruption. And if you're just able to cycle wheels, which we've seen is quite easy to do, I think this deck will be rogue. I think it will be more of a fun deck long term. I might be completely wrong and it might end up being the S tier deck, but my initial thoughts is like this Belle hand disruption stuff is going to be not the optimal way of playing Emerald. I think Emerald will work, it will run more smoothly, basically how it is now, but with the addition of some of the stuff like again, some of the stuff that does this, that I can't talk. Some of the stuff that discards but also allows you to draw, like Hypnotize. I know I mentioned Whole New World and some people were screaming, but Prince John, yeah, that is something to think about. I still think in the long run, the wheel is going to have its way. And yeah, I do like Prince John. It is going to make this way of playing Emerald and hand disruption better. And yes, obviously I know if you play Whole New World when they have Prince John, then you're giving them a lot of cards, but I think there are ways that I'm not a complete believer yet in that. I'm a strong believer in Emerald for next season, absolutely, but I'm not convinced at the moment that the Belle cards will be commonly run in the most optimal version of Emerald, but that's just my first impressions, and I could be wrong. Next up, another Alice in Wonderland card, great to see, and a Ruby card, 5 cost inkable. We've got Card Soldiers, full deck, 5/5 stat line and 2 lore pips, really vanilla. Yeah, cool. You know, I think we have a 6/5 stat line at 5 cost in Ruby already. The Captain, I believe that's so. Yeah, Captain is the same, but 6/5 and only 1 lore pip. But maybe the 2 lore pips makes it worth it, and maybe just, you know, it ends up having synergy based on its characterizations. But yeah, really love the art and good to see the cards. Next up, another pretty spicy one. We've got Dragon Gem. I'm pretty sure this is rare in the Lost Dragon. I'm pretty sure, which disclaimer I haven't seen, but love this art, and I love the art, but I also great about the art is it's similar to the crossbow card that we got. It's the same place, but I think they're two different points in time. But enough about that. There'll be another video where we talk about lore-based stuff. But yeah, it's a 3-cost uninkable item. Bring back to life. Wake me up! Sorry. I couldn't resist. Exert and pay 3 ink. Return a character card with support from your discard to your hand. So our characters with support at the moment are, from Amber we've got Maximus and Hey Hey, and from Sapphire we've got Chief Tui, Philatites and Merlin, and then we've got Work Together, the action, and Scepter of Arendelle, the item. But that's from previous set. Everyone is under the impression, and I think rightfully so, is under the impression that the dragon cards that will be revealed from Rare and the Lost Dragon will have supports. But yeah, I really like this, just like a way to recycle characters that you can keep on the field and basically play every turn, when obviously ink providing. And yeah, like we're bound to get more support cards in this set, and again it's another one of those that as the game continues to release more cards and we get more things with support, this will only get better and better. So yeah, love to see Dragon Gem. Next up, we've got Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman. And I just gotta say, I just think it's kind of funny that we get the Donald Duck steel card, where it's revealed that he's gone swimming with Minnie Mouse. And then within days, we got our first Daisy Duck card. And then within days, we see Donald, pure gentleman with some flowers. I'm not piecing this story together for you, but I'm sure you can get there on your own. But we've got Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman, and he really is. Look at him. 4-cost inkable with a 2/5 stat line, which is pretty nice. And he's a Floodborn and shift 3. So again, another one of these very early shift targets that we can have to go with Mrs. Johnson. And 2 lore pips and the ability Allow Me. At the start of your turn, each player may draw a card. Interesting. Great for Emerald to have some consistent card draw. I've seen a lot of people talking about as well just running this with mill and basically just daring the opponent. Would you like to draw more cards and help me mill you? So yeah, I can already see some a lot of talk about this card and ways they want to play it. So he's bound to see a lot of early ladder play. Will he stand the test of time? I think he will, to be honest. I think that ability is pretty good, and Emerald really need, like, it's getting more card draw, but like if it can get even more, and again, he's bulky, 2 lore pips, inkable, lots of good things to say about Donald. So yeah, I think he's here to stay. What a dapper gentleman. Next up, we've got Minnie Mouse, who is being repped hard in this set. We love to see it. 3-cost inkable, stylish surfer, and very interesting to see Figaro, the cat, on the surfboard, who is from Pinocchio. It's Geppetto's cat. I think this is our first cross art, at least for characters from different world. Well, not different world, you get my point. They've never been in a film together. So yeah, really interesting. Love to see it. And yeah, the card is pretty interesting. So it's a 1/3 stat line, 2 lore pips, and evasive. I know Steadfast is a big fan of this. Mentioned about, you know, it like evasive decks don't have great 3-cost stuff for their curve. The 1 strength doesn't matter too much because you're just there to quest, and it's bulky enough that you might be able to take a hit and not immediately go down. So yeah, there seems to be a lot of love for Minnie, and yep, I can see why. Again, I think I wouldn't say I underestimated evasives at the beginning. In fact, if anything, I might have overestimated it, but I think I didn't give enough love to the lower cost, the more generic evasive ones that were lower cost. They've ended up being really, really good. So I see no reason why Minnie Mouse doesn't follow suit. So yeah, great to see her. Next up, we've got Christopher Robin, which is just the most adorable thing I have ever seen. Look at Pooh in the background there. Ah, beautiful. Eri Welly. Is that your name, artist? Eri Welly? I hope I'm saying that right. Well done. Gorgeous. 6-cost inkable adventurer. 2/6 stat line, which is nice. We'll always be together. Oh my god. Well, I'm a villain. Yeah, makes me sick. 2 lore pips. Whenever you ready this character, if you have 2 or more other characters in play, gain 2 lore. So obviously you ready at the start of a turn if you were exerted at the... Yeah, if you were exerted, then you will re-ready at the beginning of the turn. Obviously, that means that you were vulnerable for a turn, if they've had a turn with it being exerted. But with big bulky 6, sometimes that's just going to be fine, and you will get through it. But again, there's Shield of Virtue, there's LeFou, so Ruby Amber looking pretty spicy. And yeah, we will get more cards that allow us to re-ready other characters. So yeah, really like this card. Another great target for the new Zero to Hero in Amber and the new Mickey Mouse, which allows you to reduce cost for things. So there's a chance you can get this out really early with a couple of 1 costs. So yeah, really like Christopher Robin. There is absolutely a place for him. And that is all of our cards so far. Yeah, really excited. A lot of really interesting stuff in that last batch. I am so excited for Rise of the Floodborn, and obviously great to see the world's greatest criminal mind. I can only hope that we see Professor Rattigan before the reveals are finished. I want my boy. I want my boy. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe for future Lorcana content. Please hit the like button. It really does mean a lot to me and helps keep me motivated to keep this content coming up. It's that little boost I need to see another like or a new subscription and growing the channel. So please show the support if you are enjoying the videos. We'll see you very soon.